Let's go! Let's go! Let's go, everybody. This is Dollar Bill on a windy but yet warm Friday after Valentine's Day. Was it like the 18th or something like that? I don't know the date. All I know is this. Baseball is supposed to be 40 days away as I'm overlooking a field of baseball right now with brownish grass and some AstroTurf ready to be played on, and here we are. They met for 15 minutes yesterday. How exciting. Like, they had time for like half a cup of coffee to talk about how swell things are going. But, this is the topic we choose today on SPiTBALLiN. And it is, of course, you can find us on TikTok and Twitter and Facebook and, all the good places to find us. But I wish people would act with some urgency. Like, players won't be able to get this money back that they're going to lose to recoup. Like, a player has a shelf life. Team owners can outlast the players for sure. But on the same hand, if you go too long, you're already the third most popular sport in America, woefully behind football. And now basketball has jumped it pretty easy. It's turning into a regional sport. If you look at the pipeline, the pipeline is greatness for the sport moving forward. Now, the pipeline on Long Island is pretty good. Travel baseball is on the top of everyone's list. But we're in a little bit of flux right now, too. We'll talk about that in a second. But, my God, there's no urgency. They don't want to get it fixed, and they're so far apart. And all they're talking about is being right in this pissing contest. No, the owners want to beat the players want to beat the owners. You know who loses? Everybody. You know who really loses? Us fans. Like a Met fan, if I was a Met fan, which I clearly not. You got an owner that spent money for the first time in forever. Don't you want to see the boys of summer actually play a real season? Not what this farce is talking to. Listen, there are fundamental problems in baseball. A minor leaguer getting called up to the majors shouldn't be making $500,000 a year. Shouldn't be. Especially if they contribute to a team. They got to be making more than that. The minimum salary for a Major League Baseball player should be $1 million. A rookie, $1 million. Got to make $1 million a year. You play in California, it's 40% for taxes. Pay an agent, I'm not going to say I'm not going to be like Latrell Sprewell and say, I can't feed my kids on $21 million over 3. That was a lot of years ago. But a Major League player who's at one of the top, 750, 800 players in the sport across the world, it's got to make $1 million. $1 million his first year, $1.5 million the second year, maybe $2 million the third, and then we got to get into that fishy arbitration stuff. We got to fix that. Then we have guys like Juan Soto at the top of the scale, turning down 13 years and $350 million because he can hold out for $500 million if he holds out a little bit later. I'm not in anyone's pocket, but what can't you do with $350 million that you could do with $500 million? I think the top of the sport is really skewed. The guys on the top make way too much money. They really do. Take a guy like Max Scherzer, who'll be lucky to make 22 starts based on injury history and whatever. 22 games he'll pitch in. Let's say 30. Let's be nice. Let's root for Max. 30 out of 162, he plays in less than 20% of the games. He'll probably play 6 innings plus. And what does that come down to each start? $1.7 million a start. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for a guy who doesn't contribute to the team 4 out of 5 days. It's ludicrous, really. Where, if you want to pay these guys in basketball, they play, before load management, they would play, 36, 40 minutes a night, and they would play just about every game. Football, you want to pay the quarterback $45 million, probably ludicrous too. But you see how the teams suck when you don't have a quarterback. Paying all this money for pitching. Now, you want to pay Juan Soto $50 million a year? Sure, he plays just about every day. So he plays the defense well, but only gets up 4 times. So in the scheme of things, he plays in about, 58% of the game. The rest of the time he's on the bench. By the metrics that be, a baseball player shouldn't make that much money because only a certain pitcher can dominate a game on a certain day. I mean, you have like Aaron Judge can hit a home run a day or two, but his impact isn't as great as a pitcher could be. But that impact can't be $1.7 million a start. It just can't be. So we have to fix the top of the sport as well as the middle guy. You take your pick. You're that second tier free agent. From like 5 or 6 years ago, the amount of money that you're getting paid has dropped from $11.7 million. Yeah, I forgot where I heard the stat this morning. Heard it on the radio. $11.7 million for the average mid-level free agent 5 years ago. Now they're getting paid $6 million. That's a problem. So, they say a rising tide lifts all boats. Listen, the best players make way too much money. They do. I think if you want to be a little more fair, I think you have to cap these contracts and help the owners, help themselves a little bit. Now, again, I get there's a competitive balance in certain cities $200 million doesn't go as far as New York as it does in, let's say, Texas. So, obviously, in New York, you got to pay a little more. I mean, based on, taxes and home prices and things like that. And it sounds silly. But at the end of the day, if you're playing with monopoly money, if I go to New York for a 10-year deal for $200 million and I keep, let's say $120 million of it. But if I go to Texas for that same contract, I can keep $170. This is economic things that matter now. I mean, we're talking major league dollars, literally. So it's a little bit above my pay grade. If we lift the minimum salary for the lower guys and listen, you got to give to get. And the owners have been hammering the players, for the last decades on deals. You have to have the owners protect themselves. The longest contract you can give out is 8 years. Because the 10s don't work. It's proven 10-year contracts don't work. They don't work. And the team always loses in that. And then as I often say, the law of unintended consequences. If you lock a guy up long term, now you prohibit him from making moves on the lesser guys. Crap. I'm stuck with Stanton now for the Yankees for 5 more years, $25 million. Now I can only pay someone X to stay on the salary cap. That's got to change. It's gotta. There's a max. They don't want to talk about that salary cap word in baseball. But there is such a thing as a max contract in the NBA. And it seems to work out pretty good. You only have 1 or 2 on a team. Or you try and have 3 if you're the Nets. Or whoever LeBron's playing for these days. But these guys got to get their act together. They're not popular as they once were. And your shelf life is limited. Like Aaron Judge in a podcast saying, he'd like to sign an extension for the Yankees. But if he doesn't, he's had some good memories and he'll move on. There's no loyalty in sports anymore. There really isn't. We're just loyal to the laundry. Players, not so much. And you think, and it's really crossed over in our kids. My son is a huge Aaron Judge fan. Because of that, he's really become a Yankee fan. When we grew up, it was the team first and players second. Now it's been a complete role reversal. So I don't know what the powers that be that got to get this done, but we got to get it done. We got to get more eyes to television sets. We need to speed up the game a little bit. Not like these drastic things. A little bit. To make it exciting. The big guys make too much money. They got to give some back. Now, if you want to make those deals a little more lucrative, get them involved in, licensing. You know what? We're only going to pay. Let's say they make a max contract in baseball. Let's say it's $35 million a year. But then as a bonus structures and stuff like that, you can pay more in a bonus. And make them team bonuses too. If we win the World Series, you get $5 million. Make the playoffs, you get $2 million. You win the MVP, you get $1 million. If you sell 50,000 T-shirts, you get, a percentage. But you gotta get value for the dollar. And you can't take away from the middle guy, and especially the younger players who are really carrying this game. I mean, that's why you'll see guys sign 11-year deals at 22 years old, because they can't afford them otherwise. Tatis in his 14-year deal, that's really no good for anybody. I mean, it's good for him, but no one wants to be locked up that long term. We could get hurt tomorrow. It's the price you pay with the economics that is, but it can't continue as it is. And someone's got to press the panic button and say, listen, baseball's not going to happen unless we get these things done. The season may be too long. I propose going back to the original 154 of years ago. The universal DH is agreed upon. We'll get some money kicked in for the owners. And the last but most important thing that we're not talking about here, you have to boost up the minor leagues. You have to take care of the engine that feeds your talent. These guys are making $800 a month playing ball in the minor leagues. After a while, they're going to step away. Kyler Murray is playing quarterback for the Cardinals because he didn't want to take an $8 million signing bonus from the Oakland A's and ride buses to Tacoma and cities outside of Portland for years to get to the major leagues. You got to take care of the minor leaguers. You got to make it feasible for them. And even if you take a hit, lose a couple $1 million a year on your minor league systems, have you noticed what you gain back in perceived, the money you make on selling a franchise values? They often go up 12 to 15%. So if you have a $2 billion company, the next year it's almost worth 2.3. So that's a $300 million net gain on paper. Guess what? You can afford to lose $5 or $10 million on losing a little bit for the minor leagues. Pay the minor leaguers, get them housed, get them health-wise up to speed, get them their health insurance, and also let's take care of the former players too. There's a real challenge here to fix everything, and the opportunity is right in front of us. And if there wasn't so much greed, baseball will be fixed in about 5 minutes or 15 minutes or about as how long as they've been meeting or as long as the Spitball broadcast has been today. But that's it for this edition of Spitball. You can catch us on the Let's Go Network. Please like and subscribe us on YouTube and Twitter and TikTok and Facebook and everything else I missed. Hopefully things get better. It'll be a boring weekend because it's about the All-Star game, and, who cares about the NBA All-Star game? Because when you can't bring props to the dunk contest and you never heard of guys in the three-point contest, what do you really have? And a game with no defense, which would be like 181 to 162, whatever it is. Who cares? So, listen, enjoy your weekend. And listen, as this is especially to the baseball owners and players, make some common sense out of your sports and your life. Catch you next time on Spitballin'. Bye.